The OnePlus 8T is probably the best OnePlus smartphone to date in a number of key areas. It also falters in a few, but let's delve in throughout our full review of the OnePlus 8T. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. Just taking a look at the OnePlus 8T, and it could honestly simply be any device lifted from the parts bin at parent company BBK. It's the first time for a long time that there doesn't appear to be any real design differentiator between a OnePlus branded smartphone and stablemates of Oppo and Realme. As uninspiring as the rear panel is, it also feels very Samsung-like in its execution, which extends to OxygenOS 11.0, which we will discuss later on. The camera array looks very like the rest of the industry. This shunts the OnePlus 8T into a pack of samey looking smartphones and does feel like a step away from the established look and feel that we've come to know and love from the firm in recent years. Although samey look aside, a flat front and soft curved back is a perfect combination, especially given the large scale of this device. I found the 8T has a nice balance and weight in the hand. The matte textured glass finish at the rear is also another excellent aspect of the design that is only really bettered by very few smartphones on the market right now. Of course, the star of the show is the 120Hz Full HD Plus AMOLED panel on the 8T, and this is my favourite on a OnePlus device to date. Note that I say this isn't the best, as that honour still belongs to the OnePlus 8 Pro. Curved displays may look better from afar, but flat displays are far easier to use and interact with, hence this being my favourite. Viewing angles of this display are excellent. The maximum brightness is also similarly impressive, even in bright direct sunlight. Blacks are deep, colours are vibrant, and the new adaptive auto brightness seems to work very well in my experience day to day. Although I would love to see OnePlus attempt to push uniform bezels on upcoming devices, as having spent an extensive amount of time with the Pixel 5 now, I really do want to see such a good display with uniform bezels on all sides. It's a minor nitpick on an otherwise exceptional smartphone display though. So often a win for OnePlus OxygenOS 11.0 in isolation is not actually a bad third-party Android skin. However, this is a huge step away from the clean Android that is arguably the best alternative to Pixel experience and Android One. This of course is the biggest change for OxygenOS, arguably in its entire existence. To put it politely, it's different. And I have to say, I mean that in a good way in most areas. There is admittedly no major blow and everything is smooth and consistent between apps, menus and the main system. OxygenOS though feels more aligned with Oppo's ColorOS than it ever has before. This will undoubtedly mean that for many people, Android 11 is probably a no-go on their OnePlus devices. This is just a new lick of paint over the system you've come to know and love, and I can only assume it's a way to give OxygenOS some sort of clear identity. What I mean by that is that unless you're a tech enthusiast, it's hard to see clear separation between third-party Android skins without major identifiable alterations. It's likely why we see such over-the-top One UI interface changes when compared to the so-called stock Android flavour. And because of that, for some reason OnePlus has decided that OxygenOS 11.0 needs to be more like One UI. Even to the point that app layouts seem almost identical. The aesthetics are sensible though, given the large display size on the OnePlus 8T though, as reachability is a core component of this latest OS update. While that is a bonus, it makes it hard not to draw comparisons and makes OxygenOS 11.0 feel like an imitation or knockoff of One UI. I can't fault the performance levels here though, which are up to the usual OnePlus high standards. This device comes with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, not the Plus chipset, and at least 8GB of RAM, and they are a perfect pairing for high daily performance levels. There is nothing you'll throw at this package and have problems with. Although that said, I did see some very minor system stutters when rendering out a 4K 60fps video clip in Adobe Premiere Rush a couple of times. Notifications still need some serious work though, as although admittedly this might not be a major problem to you, sometimes notifications can arrive 10 minutes later than other devices running effectively the same core OS. I've no idea why this is the case, but it has long been a complaint from OnePlus fans and owners, and let's hope it gets fixed with software updates over time. Just a couple of other notables before we delve into other new hardware. The haptics on the OnePlus 8T are genuinely superb. this time around. They are definitely among the top 3 on Android, along with the OnePlus 8 Pro, the Find X2 Pro from Oppo, and last year's Pixel 4 series. If you value rumbles when tapping, swiping, or just generally interacting with your phone, then the 8T is excellent in this area. Audio is also reasonably solid on the OnePlus 8T, with a stereo sound profile being provided by a downward firing speaker and the earpiece. The device has a great maximum volume level that introduces zero distortion, but the sound profile is a little flat, especially with regards to the bass. And the optical fingerprint scanner is still as fast and accurate on the OnePlus 8T as it has been since the OnePlus 7 Pro series introduced the most upgrades. As far as in-display readers go, OnePlus has easily the best implementation by far, and I don't think you'll be disappointed on the 8T. Let's talk cameras quickly, as around back there is a domino array that consists of a 48 megapixel sensor, 16 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel monochrome sensor. It's a reasonably solid mix, but swapping out that macro camera for a telephoto lens would probably have been a far better decision. I love the camera experience on the OnePlus 8T, especially the app layout and organisation. While it's brilliant for accessibility and diving into settings, the same problems with image processing remain yet again on the OnePlus 8T. This is a capable set of sensors, but post-processing or over-processing of images is why I feel like I can't always rely on the OnePlus 8T camera every single time. When switching between lenses and focal lengths, the variation can be huge. White balance alters drastically, and it actively makes me not want to use the camera setup at all. Oh, and that's not even mentioning the lens flares. I'm not sure if this is just limited to my device, but as soon as lighting gets challenging, bam, lens flare. In normal lighting conditions, images are perfectly acceptable though. They have reasonable dynamic range, good contrast and plenty of detail at the main wide focal length. Punch in and you might start to see some of that now trademark watercolour effect post-processing though. It even affects night shooting nightscape mode too, which at times can be excellent, but most of the time is fairly average. We need to see some more work put into the post-processing on future OnePlus devices, as sometimes it feels like the 8T is close to greatness, but falls short just at the right moment. Battery life on the OnePlus 8T proves to be a major highlight. The introduction of 65-watt charging is also stupidly fast, and if you loved Warp Charge 30T, then you'll adore the ability to go from 0 to 100 in well under an hour. But would I trade this for wireless charging? I think I probably would. Gripes aside though, I regularly see 6 hours of screen on time when using the 8T. I'm sure you could push it further by lowering the display refresh rate and making some savings elsewhere, but I'm happy with that kind of figure on a daily basis. Just what the 65-watt fast charging will do to the battery long term though is another question entirely. So in summary, let's make it clear that the OnePlus 8T is a great device that provides exceptional bang for your buck, but there is quite a big but here. It's quite a boring update to the standard OnePlus 8. The charging, software and excellent display are the major new additions of note. The rest is a stride through some of the same pastures that mainline OnePlus devices have been wading through since the distinctly mediocre OnePlus 7 released. If I'm completely honest, the OnePlus 8T in isolation is a brilliant, borderline excellent smartphone. The big red checkmark against the camera is probably the only thing I can actively point towards to truly knock the entire package, but of course there is another but here. The OnePlus 8 Pro is still an exponentially better buy. It has a far better camera, arguably better albeit curved display, wireless charging, slightly more impressive overall design, same chipset, IP68 rating, plus slightly nicer colour options. The OnePlus 8T is in an odd middle ground that yes, is better than the standard OnePlus 8, but doesn't carve out a market for itself quite as well. The OnePlus 8 series has been available for a while too. If you were looking to pick one up, then you maybe already have. A 6-month release cycle is making it harder and harder to see major gains save in small areas. If the Pro series of OnePlus devices is truly here to stay, maybe a once yearly release cycle needs to be adhered to long term as the company grapples with mainstream attention and ownership separation. As it stands, the OnePlus 8T still remains a good smartphone released at a weird time. Maybe we'll see another complete overhaul in time for the OnePlus 9 series, but until then, the best that the firm has made thus far remains the OnePlus 8 Pro. So with that in mind, let us know down in the comments section below what you're thinking about the OnePlus 8T, or if you're going to pick one up. But until next time, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.